Welcome to today's video, where to open an investment account. There are a lot of brokers out there where you could open an investment account. So I'm going to cover just a few options, but then I'm going to share where I personally like to have my investment account and why I choose that brokerage firm. So let's dive right in. All right, I'm going to cover a few different brokerage accounts and then talk about my favorite brokerage account and the reasons why I like that one. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to share where I actually have my investment accounts because I do use more than one broker. All right, here are a few different places that you could open up an investment account. The first one is Fidelity. I feel like this one is pretty popular and it's actually my second choice. There's also Merrill Lynch. There is JP Morgan, there's Interactive Brokers, there is Webull, and you've probably heard of Robinhood. And there are a number of different brokerage firms out there that you could use. These are just a handful. But when we are looking to set up an investment account for ourselves, we want to understand what we are going to be doing in that investment account, because there are certain brokerage firms that have different options. And if you need those options, then you want to choose one of those brokerage firms. For example, those that trade options. I know a lot of people like to use TD Ameritrade, which is actually being acquired by Schwab and may have already been, depending on when you're watching this video. But they have some great features if that is something you are looking to do. For me, I'm not looking to trade options or do any day trading. I'm more of a long-term investor. I like to buy and hold my investments. And I know Robinhood's platform is also conducive to more of a day trader. So for sure, take into consideration the things that you are looking for. But if you are more of just a long-term investor, the brokerage firm that I like to use is Vanguard. They are a very popular company because they have been around so long. And I just want to go over a few benefits on why I like to use Vanguard. So for one, Vanguard's actually owned by those that use Vanguard. So they are not looking to increase their fees constantly. I like knowing that there is not an incentive to increase their fees over time. And then the second thing goes right along with this is that they do have really low fees. They have a lot of great funds that get great returns, but they also have really low fees associated with those funds. And my favorite fund that I like to invest in has a really low fee, a really low expense ratio at 0.04%. If you want to know which fund that is, I have another video. I'll leave a link to that above. You can check it out later on. But it's important that we really keep an eye on our fees when we are investing, because those fees can eat into our retirement funds. And it's not just a couple of $100s. It can turn into thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is an example from Empower, which used to be called Personal Capital. But you can see in this example that 21% of their earnings is lost to fees. 21%, which means they are going to have to retire 2 years later. So it is so important that we really keep an eye on those fees, on those expense ratios if we are investing in index funds, and make sure they are as low as possible so that we can retire as early as possible. And then another benefit of Vanguard is that they have diverse options for us. There's not just 2 funds that we can choose from. There are a number of different options we can choose from. That includes individual stocks like Amazon or Tesla or Google. They also have target date retirement funds, which is a completely passive way to invest your money. You can just contribute to that one single target date fund and be invested in stocks and in bonds. And they also have funds such as a total stock market fund or an S&P 500 fund or an international fund. There are just a number of different funds. And they also give the option of investing in ETFs, exchange traded funds. And they have a number of those as well. Another benefit of Vanguard is that they have a user-friendly platform. They have updated their app kind of recently, and it is a lot more user-friendly. They're trying to make it easy for investors to manage their investments. Not only that, they do offer educational resources. There are a number of blog posts or different articles on their website that you can definitely read over to help you better understand investing in the stock market. And yet another benefit is a strong reputation of Vanguard. Since they have been around for a really long time, they are a very stable company and they have maintained a really good reputation. They are also the ones that started the index fund, so they have had their index funds for a really long time. Vanguard also makes it easy to invest automatically. They give you the option to hook your checking or your savings account directly to Vanguard. You can set up auto transfers directly from your checking over to your Vanguard investment account. And then depending on what you're investing in, you can also automate your actual investments. So you wouldn't even have to log into your Vanguard account to make an investment. This is actually how I have mine set up. I just have an auto transfer from my checking every single month that gets directly deposited into my Vanguard account and also gets invested into the fund that I choose. And you want to make sure if you are setting up an auto transfer to your investment account that it's not just being deposited in their settlement fund, it's kind of like a cash account, but that it's actually being put into a fund in the stock market that you have selected. So a lot of people are doing these automatic transfers to their investment account, but it's not going into anything inside the stock market. So you want to double check that that is actually happening. This also happens when people try to invest in their 401k. They have money going into their 401k, but they haven't selected a fund in the stock market to have that money actually go into. So just as a side note, double check your 401k. I've been using Vanguard for quite a few years now and have not had any problems with them. And if I do have questions about something, I have been able to get a hold of them as well. I know that is a problem with some of the other brokerage firms out there. But with Vanguard, I will sit on hold for a couple of minutes maybe, but I'm not waiting hours and hours or just getting a busy signal. I'm actually able to talk to someone at Vanguard. And if you've actually used Vanguard, comment below and tell me a benefit that you like about them, because I'm sure I missed a lot of benefits. And in case you do want to set up an account with Vanguard, I just want to show you their website very quickly and walk you through how you can do that. So I have gone to Vanguard.com, pulled up their website, and we are personal investors. So we're going to come over to the right and select personal investors. And then you can click on what we offer. So let's just click on one of these. We'll click on IRA. And then if we scroll down just a little bit over to the bottom right, it says Get Started. We'll click on that. We can click on Open a New Account with money from my bank. That means you'll be transferring money from your current bank over to Vanguard. If you click on that, they do give you a preview, so you could watch that about how to open it. But we'll click over to the right on Continue. They do offer this advice services option, but that's going to be an extra fee. I'm just going to stick with the self-guided. So I'll click on I'll start on my own. And then if you don't already have an account, you'll click on Sign Up under I'm new to Vanguard. And then they give you an overview of the next steps. So you will select an account type, either a Roth IRA or a traditional or a spousal IRA. And then you'll put in your personal info, and then you will link your bank account and you can transfer money over, and then your account will be open. So Vanguard has made the process very simple to open up a new account. And like I mentioned, I do have an account, actually multiple accounts at Vanguard. And then like I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have a few other accounts at different companies. So let me explain why I've chosen to go with a few different options instead of just sticking with one. And this doesn't mean that you need to do this. I'm just explaining why I've done it. But honestly, if you can keep your finances as simple as possible and just use one brokerage firm, that's going to be just fine, and it's going to make your finances easier to manage. But I do have another one at Ally. Since I have my emergency fund, my savings account with Ally, I have a brokerage account there because I like their instant transfer. If I wanted to quickly get some money invested in the stock market, I can pull money directly from my savings account over to my Ally brokerage account and then get that money immediately invested. And then I do have another brokerage account with Interactive Brokers. And the reason I did that was because they have a really low interest rate if you're going to do a margin loan. And if you're wondering what that is, I do have another video about that. I will leave a link above. And then I have another brokerage account with Webull. I had set up an account because Webull was offering a number of free stocks. If you set up an account, they also have an affiliate program. And when I set it up, it was getting a lot of exposure and a lot of people were opening up accounts. And it was a simple way for me to refer people to set up a brokerage account and get free stocks immediately so that they could at least get exposure to the stock market. That being said, I have very little in my Webull account. I have a lot of money in Vanguard, and I do have quite a bit in Interactive Brokers. But hearing my reasons for having those different accounts, you may not be in the same situation, so having just one account is just fine. Comment below and tell me where you are going to open up your investment account. And if you are still not sure where to open up your investment account or how to invest in the stock market, I have a free masterclass where I go over how I can help you get started investing in the stock market. I will leave a link to that below in the description. You can click on that and check out the free masterclass. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more great content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.